First of all, let me express my great joy to be here in TBC, and and the topic is on the law of karma and its intricacies. Law of karma and its intricacies, meaning how the law of karma, what's the mechanism of law of karma, and then say what could be the misconceptions pertaining to law of karma, and how when the law of karma is misunderstood, people can abuse this system, and the classifications of law of karma, and beginning with how the law of karma determines the whole universe, how it is the fabric of the entire universe. Okay, these are the things that we're going to discuss for the next 2 days. Then, setting a proper motivation, which has 3 parts: refuge field, bodhicitta field, and the purpose of this practice. First, the refuge field. Refuge field consisting of the visualizing Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, surrounded by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you, particularly the beings who you see as examples, who you see as inspiration for cultivating compassion within yourself, who you see as inspiration for cultivating the wisdom of emptiness, and of course the cultivating the single point of meditation. So all these beings, you visualize them as in the field of the refuge. And how you visualize them, that is a very important point, that they are like a very affectionate parents, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They are like a very affectionate parents, and that you are demoralized. Imagine that you are demoralized. You come home from the school, where during the childhood, there are always senior children who bully you. So imagine that you are so demoralized, being bullied by elder children at school, and your parents are the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the form of parents waiting there to give full love, affection, attention, so forth. This is a very important point. So you just visualize the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So there you may not have the tickling sensation on your body, but when you visualize them as you're very affectionate and you become so demoralized and dare to give full love and affection and so forth. So when you visualize that, then the tickling sensations come to you. That is the point of the transformation taking place in you. That is the dharma practice. And the bodhicitta field, again, what to visualize and how to visualize. Visualize your 2 parents on the 2 sides, and you might have difficult time with your parents. It doesn't matter. So the whole purpose of our studying here and then be a part of the Dharma Center, is to finally transcend ordinary people's thinking. Ordinary people's thinking meaning that when there's little conflict happening, you feel so distant, you feel so the agitated and so forth. This is how the ordinary people behave. So now, on the contrary, we're trying to learn how to transcend the ordinariness, whereby you are not going to be affected by any external factors, where your compassion, your affection, no matter what the external factor is, your compassion and affection continues to grow. This is what we are doing. For that matter, visualize your 2 parents around you, and all your family members, including your children, and all the Mother sentient beings around you, leaving them aside. And here again, how to visualize them? You are like the mother, and all others are like your children. Children meaning that they don't see the far away in distance and space. So because of which they are so engrossed in the immediate, the joys and so forth, and then because of which they are bound to make mistakes and then create problems on you, So this is where you as a mother feel tremendous love and affection, compassion towards all the beings. That is the bodhicitta field. Now the purpose of this practice is the one, to be kind to yourself. Number two, to be wisely kind to yourself. To be kind to yourself means to give yourself what you want, give yourself happiness, get rid of the fears of life. That is the meaning of be kind to yourself. And to be wisely kind to yourself, meaning do those things which will actually give rise to happiness, which will actually get rid of all the miseries. And from the last 3 days and today and tomorrow, we learned and we are learning as to what actually forbids us from getting the maximum happiness, what forbids us from experiencing fearlessness. In other words, what attracts the fears, miseries and so forth, and what deprives us of happiness is only for two reasons. One is the ignorance and the other is the self-centered attitude. Okay, these are two demons to be gone rid of. Then the gold inside us, our mind, which is like a gold, but mixed with the soil. The gold is not visible, it doesn't glow. When the soil is removed over time, then the gold inside will start to glow. Likewise, when these two demons, self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude, when these two are eradicated, then the gold inside us in the form of bodhicitta, in the form of Buddha nature, will become vibrant in its full form. So the purpose, this is the purpose. But how to accomplish that is by resorting to the respective remedies. Remedies for the self-grasping ignorance, the remedy is the wisdom of emptiness, and for the self-centered attitude, the remedy is the other cherishing mind, bodhicitta. So these are two things to be cultivated. And for the wisdom of emptiness, keep in mind that the light, the ignorance is like darkness. To get rid of the darkness, we need to introduce the light. This is the only way. This is the only way to get rid of the ignorance or the darkness, by introducing the light. And this light to be introduced should have two qualities. One is that it should be very bright, and that it should be very steady. Even though if it is very feeble, it's not bright, then the purpose of reading the books and so forth, appreciating paintings and so forth, does not happen. So the light must be very bright. While the light is bright, if it is flickery, again, it doesn't serve the purpose. It brings such a strain on eyes. It must be very steady. Steady, should not be flickery. So, how to build the brightness of the light? In the case of the wisdom, it is through the analytical meditation. Meditation study, reflection and meditation on emptiness. Then how to bring the steadiness of this wisdom is through cultivating a single point of meditation, such as the shamatha practice, such as the Mahamudra meditation, such as the vipassana practice, and so all these are meant to create the steadiness of the mind. And with the Mahamudra practice, not only steadiness, it also brings to light the luminosity of the mind to manifest. Okay, so we see that finally the purpose, what we should be doing is, in actual fact, what we should be doing is to practice wisdom of emptiness, supported by the single point of meditation, driven by the force of bodhicitta, grounded on renunciation. Okay, with that in mind, let's turn to page 2. And imagine that you are leading this, and all sentient beings, including your two parents, your children, your family members, they're all joining you. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Dharma, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate dharma Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Dharma, I pay homage. Independent origination, there is no ceasing nor rising, no separateness and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the Buddhas and the hearers and the Bodhisattvas, who through the knowledge of all leads hearers seeking pacification, complete peace, who through the knowledge of paths causes those having migrated to achieve same to the world, and who through the possession of omniscience subduer set forth the varieties having all aspects. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you I make prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. Okay, page 7. Tendrangimbo mantra, the essence of dependent origination mantra. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye svaha. Om ye dharma hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye svaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye svaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes is well understood by the great seer. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye choda tsoge chonam la chanjo pardo tane gyabsuch dage jinso kebe tsonam ke chola penjire sangye drubare sho Sangye choda tsoge chonam la chanjo pardo tane gyabsuch dage jinso kebe tsonam ke chola penjire sangye drubare sho Sangye choda tsoge chonam la chanjo bardo dane kyapsuchi dage jinso kebe tsonam ge chola penjire sangye drubare sho. Harsutra mantra. Okay, as we recite this Harsutra mantra, just imagine that in Singapore there are like minimum 6 million human beings. And of the 6 million, say how many people really come in contact with the Dharma, and not just come in contact with Dharma. From those people who come in contact with Dharma, how many of them really come in contact with the essence of Dharma, which is the emptiness concept and the bodhicitta? How many of them? And then those people who do come in contact with these two teachings, how many really say invest a little bit of time to read some materials, or on a daily basis to do something, some studies, practice and so forth. How many people do that? So less. And then they say, everyone here who came here for this program, for this the lecture, I know that you have your respective responsibilities, your household chores, then your jobs and so forth. Say that that you're able to, say, somehow manage your time and come here. This itself is a clear indication that deep inside you have this yearning, you have this inclination for the dharma to extract some meaning for your life. This is so precious, so precious. Okay, some of you are maybe doing your dharma, they practice on a daily basis. Some of you may not be doing practice on a daily, but still, even just to invest your time, come here, come to the, say, the centers, go to the respective centers, learn something there. Even that is so precious. Okay, with this in mind, finally, the point is that from particularly attending the teachings, what I would suggest is that let us say one, acknowledge the good things that are happening to you. Say over the last 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, 9 years, 10 years, whatever little change, whatever little transformation that is taking place in you, just acknowledge that. Acknowledge that. I'm so lucky that the last, say, like 10 years, 20 years, or 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, coming in contact with Dharma, that I can see something. I got a small mirror with me. I got a mirror to see what I'm like, what kind of transformation is taking place within me. So that is very important. To acknowledge the good things happening to you, you have to acknowledge that. Now, once you acknowledge that, don't remain complacent. Don't remain complacent, right? Remain complacent means that, okay, I'm lucky, I met with Dharma, okay, so this is happening. Don't remain complacent. Just see how to move forward, how to take the next step. That is so important. That is so important. Particularly, I'm reiterating this. For example, say here in TBC, there's the programs here, study programs here. In ABC, there are study programs there, and then for sure there are other centers where these study programs are there. I'm reiterating this. So people who are exposed. People who are exposed to such studies like the psychology, the logic, and what do you call it, module 1, 2, 3, and so forth, right? They are so precious. Those people who go to these study programs, although we may see that even with emptiness, for those people who are doing the modules for the 1 year, 2 years, when they directly study the emptiness, they will feel, wow, I'm getting something, right? And many people leave aside the modules, study the modules, just exposed to the emptiness directly, there's nothing to practice, right? People feel like this. Whereas those people who go through this, study the modules and so forth, although you may think that this is a little too dry intellectual inquiry, no, this is so precious. Whatever study there is so precious. Those people who do these modules, when you go to the other teachings like emptiness, bodhicitta, then slowly into the Tantra, very genuine tantric teachings, then you will be the person who is in the position to admire the profundity and the depth of these teachings. Okay, so therefore, it is Singaporeans overall speaking, from the same, just on top of the other centers, the fact that you have these 2 centers there, you're very fortunate. Singaporeans are very fortunate. So let us not take for granted that, oh, this is always there. Let us not take for granted whether it is there or not. The point is that we are aging, right? It is there, but then in what way you get the benefit? You are aging, right? So when you age, like when you're in 20s, maybe some of you are in your 20s, some of you maybe 30s, 40s. Say as you age, you cannot go back. So what we've learned the last 3 days is that each one of us, particularly for emptiness, there are the practices of 2 kinds. One which requires a tremendous study, and other which does not require much study. Right? Yet, both are required for your total development. It's not that one wing so strong, other wing is missing, you cannot fly. And the other wing is there. The first wing is missing, you cannot fly. You need both wings. So therefore, we need, for example, say the meditation on the observe the mind. And the teaching wise, there's not really much to teach for observing the mind. The person should be ready. The actual practitioner should be ready for that. Right? So, and whereas for emptiness, there are so many things to learn. And say without emptiness, of course the 2 days teaching, it is the focus is on the karma and its intricacies. But for the emptiness, without getting emptiness, there's no way by which that we can get out of samsara. If we cannot get out of samsara, how can you possibly think about achieving Buddhahood? Achieving Buddhahood is far, 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 far more difficult, and particularly say identifying what cognitive obscuration is that stops us from achieving Buddhahood. To identify that and then to apply the remedies is purely on the basis of the wisdom of emptiness with the force of the bodhicitta. So keeping that in mind, we see that 6 million the human beings are there, the Singaporeans are here in this island, and then yet how many of them are really into the dharma? This is the question. So out of great compassion for all of them, including your parents, including your say the brothers, sisters, or whosoever could not really say take out time for such programs, you just deliberately bring them in this visualization with you today, and imagine that the Buddha Shakyamuni so kindly exhorts us thus: don't remain in the fears of samsara. Come towards the ultimate happiness. Be wise and come towards the ultimate happiness. And you hearing this melodious voice of the Buddha Shakyamuni, you inspire your 2 parents, you inspire all your family members, including your children, and everyone, all sentient beings here in Singapore, the human beings, the animals, the insects, the spirits, then the hungry ghosts, hell beings, all these beings and everyone in this world, and everyone in the entire Milky Way galaxy and the entire universe. Just visualize all of them, all the sentient beings. They are so happy to hear what you're saying, what you are the passing, the message that you're passing to them from the Buddha, and they so readily join you in this journey of cleansing the mind, cleansing the mental defilements, to activate this Buddha nature inside fully, so that each one of you will become, each one of sentient beings will become so independent of the external factors that they are not going to be activated, they are not going to be affected at all by external factors. They experience the boundless happiness eternally. So with that in mind, you are leading this, and everyone is happily joining you. All the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are so happily watching us, what we are doing here. Deyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhiswahatyata 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 Om Gati Gati Paragati gati parasam gati bodhisvaha. Okay, next page 19, 8 verse of mind training, and the red book, page 32. Red book, page 32. The blue book, page 19, the 8 verse of mind training. Okay, the 8 verse of mind training. Those of us who attended the last 3 days teaching, so we learned that. And this is to say not to undermine the self, but to undermine the destructive emotions within our minds, particularly self-centered attitude. And in other words, to put it very simply, that is to counteract the self-referential ego. That is to counteract the self-referential ego. Okay, so self-referential ego, if you really study into depth, we see that it is composed of 2 parts: self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. Combined together, it makes a self-referential ego. Okay, that is the one which destroys us, which just makes you not enjoy the present moment. Which, say, you have, you meet with a friend, or you meet with your parents, and okay, so what for? For, say, like gathering for family gathering or birthday party, whatever you meet, and then you start complaining, right? You did not do like this, you did not do like this, this have this problem, that problem. So when are you going to really enjoy? When are you really going to feel the happiness, right? So the time that we have for the happy moment, that you are using for complaining. And the time of the trouble is a time of trouble, that's the problem. Right? And time of no trouble, you're complaining. That makes you trouble. So when are you going to really say I'm going to achieve Buddhahood for all sentient beings, that all my miseries go away? When will this go away? Right? When you actually misery go away, you'll complain. When last time when I'm a sentient being, I have this problem, this problem, this problem. You keep complaining. Right? So therefore, just see that finally something wrong with us. So for example, like this moment, this very present moment, just see how to enjoy yourself. Let people around you enjoy, right? Let people around you feel, okay, when I'm with this person, right? When I am with this person, when I go to the center, when I meet with this person, I feel more relaxed. When with this person, I become even more tense, right? Right? You stay with this person for 5 minutes, so exhausting. So exhausting, so negative, right? You say that, oh, Singapore is a beautiful place. No, the people there are terrible. No, people are, no, okay, people, no, the weather is so hot. No, it's fine, in the other place the weather is very hot, and it's very humid. Somehow there's always some complaint, very negative, right? And then you sit with this person, in 5 minutes, you feel tired, you feel exhausted, right? So with some people, you stay and they're so positive that you just 2 hours gone, still, how come that is 2 hours gone, right? So you feel the time flying. So this is, what makes the difference is that with negative, it is not helping us, it's not helping others. It only destroys you. Being negative, the first thing that it does is that it destroys our immune system. The first thing that it does is that it destroys the immune system. The moment that immune system is gone, you are at the age 20, 30, okay, because of your physical build-up at that stage of your life, immune system is, although it is going down, but still it is strong enough. Then when you will feel the effect, when you reach age 40, 50, 60, you easily become prone to illnesses. This is all because the immune system is gone, because of the destructive thoughts. This is what is scientifically being proven nowadays. Okay, so with that in mind, we see that finally any mental disturbance that comes to us, including myself, any mental disturbance, even if somebody for no reason on the street, somebody says, hey, what are you doing? What a stupid guy you are doing here, and the person leaves, then I feel disturbed, right? So this disturbance, this agitation disturbance, for sure, external factors there. That person might be something wrong with that person. but you are affected. Which means that external factor is there, internal factor is there. What is that internal factor? In short, the internal factor is self-referential ego. Self-referential ego, which is a combination of self-centered attitude and self-grasping ignorance. Ignorance which is so narrow-minded, very narrow-minded, not seeing the reality in the first place, not seeing reality. Number two, it is very narrow-minded, it does not see the world in a holistic way, right? So if you see the world holistic way, for example, say if there is an earthquake happening here, I don't know how Singapore, how prone is to earthquake. If there is an earthquake happening here and whole building collapsing, right? Then nobody will fight over, say, oh, this is my candy, I left my candy. Nobody will fight for the candy. Nobody will fight for, say, this is my table. Whole house is collapsing, right? Oh, this is my table, you are stealing my table. Whoever takes the table is fine, right? There's no problem. Likewise, somebody comes there on the road and says, you a stupid guy, doing what are you saying, right? And then the person leaves. Okay, this is world. The whole world is, in a way, crazy people filled with crazy people. Right? In a way, the whole world is, because we are all perceiving things which do not exist. We are all hallucinating people. Right? So from the hallucinating people, how can you expect something good? Right? Okay, something wrong with this, but okay. Right? You go, maybe have happiness, pray for him, and you will not be agitated. That's the best thing to do. Right? So the point is that, finally, you should be happy. You should be happy. Only if you are happy, then you can export the happiness to others. The moment you don't have the happiness, how can you say, may all sentient beings be happy? How can you think of happiness to others if you are not happy yourself? First, be yourself happy. How to make sure that you are happy within whatever the facilities that you, whatever facilities, whatever situation that you are in. How to make yourself happy? It doesn't mean that you are 100% happy. For 100% happiness, remove the two factors inside that attracts all the unhappiness. Self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude. Remove that, right? For the 100% happiness. But for the immediate happiness, just say this, slow down, tone down the self-centered attitude, the egoistic mind, tone down that, try to see things in a more holistic way, in a bigger picture. Don't just look at, Singapore all the time. In the first place, Singapore is not too big, right? It's just to look at the larger picture, where the world is suffering, right? When you see the world is suffering, Singapore is a beautiful place. It's an amazingly beautiful place. I always tell people on the first day, 3 days ago, first day, I said that Singapore is a very beautiful place in the first place. And then people are very cultured. It's a blend of two beautiful culture. One, the culture of the Chinese. Other the culture of the British. Chinese culture, very hardworking, and faith. So precious. Yet, if that alone goes in that direction, it can be very dangerous. For example, say all the terrorism now is happening. Terrorism, how they started, is on the faith, fundamentalism. So, with this open-mindedness, number two, British culture, which is open-mindedness and the love for the knowledge. Love for knowledge. These two things combined together is what Singaporeans. It's a beautiful blend of the two cultures. So, you may not acknowledge that. Just look at the wider world. Look at other parts of the world. How all this terrorism, right? And how even the traffic, there's no traffic rule, right? In many of the places. And the same, the Singaporeans, if somebody honks like this, right, then you will, you'll become what do I call it? You're traumatized. You freak, right? In many other places in the world, right? Just go there. It's so common. If you don't do that, you are something wrong with you, right? If you don't honk, something's wrong with you, right? If it's so common, and nobody will pay heed to it. You honk 100 times, nobody will just look at you even, right? So this is how we should be. We should have a very wider perspective of the world, right? Okay. So, but this the point that I'm trying to say here is, let's say, finally, for your own benefit, first think of yourself. Make sure that you are happy. If you're happy, you can spread this happiness to others. You can export the happiness. If you don't have gold, you cannot export gold. If you don't have gold, you cannot export gold. If you don't have happiness, you cannot export happiness to others. So first be yourself happy. How to be yourself happy within the given situation? Within the given situation, don't expect perfection. Within the given situation, whatever is best, go for it. Don't expect perfection. Within the given situation, make your mind tone down a little bit. Self-centered attitude, tone down a little bit. And then always keep learning something. Keep learning something. This will encourage the wisdom. And self-centered attitude, tone it down a little bit. Learn how to cherish others a little bit. Just step by step. These two things happen, your life is much easier. Okay, so now how to cut down the self-centered attitude? It is by saying no to the two negative thinkings within us. Self-centered attitude, self-grasping that it's within us. So the best way for you to do so is very clearly indicated here in these 8 verses. So we'll do that. With the determination to achieve the highest aim for the benefit of all sentient beings, which surpasses even the wish-fulfilling gem, may I hold them dear at all times. Whenever I interact with someone, may I view myself as lowest amongst all, and from the very depths of my heart, respectfully hold others as and as soon as mental and emotional afflictions arise, as they endanger myself and others, may I strongly confront them and avert them. When I see beings of unpleasant character, oppressed by strong negativity and suffering, may I hold them dear, for they are rare to find, as if I have discovered a jewel treasure. When others out of jealousy treat me wrongly with abuse, slander, and scorn, may I take upon myself the defeat and offer to others the victory. When someone whom I have helped or in whom I have placed great hopes mistreats me in extremely hurtful ways, may I regard him still as my precious teacher. In brief, may I offer benefit and joy to mothers both directly and indirectly. May all these remain undefiled by the stains of 8 mundane concerns, and may recognizing all things as illusions, devoid of clinging, be released from bondage. From my 2 collections, vast the space that I've amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds, wisdom, eyes blinded by ignorance. Okay. Today, as I said earlier, today the topic is the law of karma and its intricacies. As we rightly the last 3 days, the teaching on the Sutra on Dependent Origination. So there, the Buddha very clearly indicated that this mantra is so precious. Ye dharma hetu prabhava, hetum deshan tathagato, hyavatat, desham chayo nirota, evam vadi ma shramanai swaha. This is mantra. This mantra, this mantra explains the 4 noble truths. This mantra explains the 12 links of dependent origination. This mantra explains the Satipatthana Sutra, the practice of the 4 mindfulnesses. So we see that this mantra is like the hub of all the teachings of the Buddha, somehow there. So from this we see that ye dharma hetu prabhava, all phenomena arise from causes. And the causes taught by the Tathagata, the cessation of the causes as well as taught by the great seer. So what it says is that all these phenomena, happiness, the miseries and so forth that we go through, their experience, they arise out of the causes. Okay, so because that the TPC, ABC, they are more the learning centers. I can be a little more precise, more technical. Technically speaking, let's say that many people, because of not really a clear or say a good exposure to the Buddha's teachings. They heard something and then they just naively say the Buddha taught something like this. For example, one thing people, the mistake is that the Buddha taught that everything is impermanent. Okay, how many of you agree with this? That the Buddha taught that everything is impermanent. Right? Okay, so the fact is that technically speaking, it's not that everything is impermanent, technically speaking. Because the phenomena that we can think of is classified into two: permanent phenomena and impermanent phenomena. You getting it? Likewise, the text here says all phenomena arise from the causes. Right? Technically speaking, for example, the Buddha said there's no eyes, no ear, no nose, no. So in Heart Sutra, the Buddha taught like this. So there we have to know what the Buddha exactly what the Buddha actually meant by that. Right? It's not that there's no eyes, no ears, no nose, no Four Noble Truths, no the 12 links of dependent origination, and then the 18 elements. No, that's not a connotation. The condition that nothing really exists objectively. There's no objectively existent eyes, there's no objectively existent nose, ear, there's no objectively existent Four Noble Truths, no objectively existent the 12 links of dependent origination, so forth. So it must be qualified with the objective negation, objective existent, independent existence, so forth. Likewise, when the Buddha said, Ye dharma hetu prabhava, all these phenomena arise from causes. So this phenomena, the Buddha was precisely referring to referring to the miseries. The phenomena of miseries, they don't arise randomly. The miseries which we are confronted with, which torment us into so much of pain. So these miseries which we dislike, which we like to shun, they arise from their causes. They don't arise randomly. Ye dharma hetu prabhava. These phenomena arise from this phenomena arise from the causes. Okay, then the question is, what are these causes? What are these causes? Right? Okay, let's say, I don't know whether I mentioned this last year. Very likely yes. Okay, let's say that let's say I live in Delhi. Most of you know that. And I live on the 3rd floor. I live on the 3rd floor of a building. You may be wondering why he's saying that. 3rd floor of the building, and there's a problem. What's the problem? That there's a dampness in the air. Dampness, moisture. And because there's this moisture, I have an asthma problem. How will you help me? Very quick, anyone? Give me some advice. So that after tomorrow when I leave, right, I'll apply this. Okay, anyone? Hey, quick. Buy dehumidifier. Okay, buy dehumidifier, very good advice. Anyone else? Dehumidifier in Delhi is quite expensive. Okay, anyone else? Move the house, move to another. This is even more complicated. First I have to talk to the real estate people, right? And then they will show you different houses, some very expensive. Okay. Anyway, 2 advice. What else? How? What do you do? Okay. Find the dampness. Find the dampness. The dampness happening on the walls and the floor, everywhere. The cause. Okay. So didn't you first ask me to buy dehumidifier, right? Right. I thought of it. So maybe, okay. So the point is that, say, because this 3rd floor is not from the ground, the dampness is not from the ground, right? And it's Delhi. Delhi is not a tropical place, which means that it's a dry. If the dampness is coming, it must be because of the leakage. If you look for the leakage, you find that there's one of the pipes, there's a small They crack the air. From there, the water is coming out slowly, right? Now, if you buy, what do you call it? M-Seal? No, in Singapore, what do you call it?
Silica.
No, there's something, there's like a glue.
Sealant.
Sealant. Okay, actually, KK should be telling us. What do you call it? Sealant. Okay, let's sealant. How costly is that? A small one. $5. Okay, buy sealant for $5 and fix that. Problem is solved. You don't have to change. You don't have to move to another house. You don't have to buy the dehumidifier. And the dehumidifier, if it doesn't work, again I have to call the technician, and the technician will say, I'll come tomorrow, and he'll come only 3 days later. Right? Okay. So the point is that we have to identify the cause. Unless you identify the cause, whatever you do to treat the problem is just a symptomatic treatment. It's not the real treatment. It's just a symptomatic treatment. And the symptomatic treatment will not help you. For example, if you suffer from, say, some headache, intermittent headache. Oh, I have a headache. Again, you take a paracetamol. What is that, paracetamol? Okay, paracetamol, you take paracetamol. 3 hours, fine. Again, the headache will come back. Again, paracetamol. This is just a symptomatic treatment. You are not tackling the root of the cause. So therefore, we have to track the cause. So this is something. So while all the traditions, all the great traditions, they explore, they say that for the problems, you must track the cause. Yet, what the causes are, some identify 80% of the cause. Some identify only 50% of the cause. Some identify 85. Some identify 90. So that finally, we should be the one to see how much these great teachings, they help us to explore what depth of the cause they help us. This is what we have to explore. Now the Buddha say all these problems, many of the traditions, they say that all these problems, they come from the contaminated karmas. Buddha says this, Jainism also says it, and many of the other traditions also say the same thing, that all these problems arise from the contaminated karmas. So, for example, like Jainism, some traditions, they emphasize so much on purifying the karmas. Whereas the Buddha said that the karmas, again, they're also caused by something else. They're also caused by something else. The gross afflictions, attachment, anger, jealousy, craving, greed, and so forth. These gross afflictions, they trigger the contaminated karmas. So the Buddha went deeper than the karmas. So pointed to the gross afflictions. Then these gross afflictions, they arise from what is known as the inappropriate attention. They go deeper, still deeper, inappropriate attention. What is that inappropriate attention? For example, let's say that, okay, this mobile, let's say this like $100. And then if I want to sell it, I will just explain it to what do you call it? The marketing, right? Marketing, I have to advertise this. To advertise this, I have to say all the good features of this. I'll never say bad things about this. All the good features, I may sometimes even exaggerate. Exaggerate means inappropriate attention. Inappropriate qualities are said about it. False characterization. You give a false characteristic to the object. False characterization. You're getting it? So this false characterization is known as the inappropriate attention. For example, say this mobile which cost me only $100, when I sell it, I may say that this is very expensive, this is very good mobile, right? You pay like $500, still you will not get this good mobile. And you may be so tempted to buy it, that if you don't buy it today, then tomorrow this may not be here, right? Then you become more tempted to buy it. Then you pay me $500. So they give a false characterization, giving false attributes to the object. Okay. That is the reason that gives rise to all the attachment, aversion, and so forth. What makes to have this false categorization, inappropriate attention? That is rooted to the self-grasping ignorance. So the Buddha, identifying the cause of the suffering, the Buddha went so deep to the level of the self-grasping ignorance. So this level, self-grasping ignorance, that point, nobody on this earth, except for the Buddha, nobody is on this earth was able to go that deep. Believe it or not, you go to any tradition, except for the Buddha's teachings, nobody was able to go that deep to the level of self-grasping ignorance. Okay, now the point is that, say, all these miseries which we don't like, which is very scary to think of, the miseries, some of them, they are so excruciatingly painful, incredibly excruciatingly painful, and they really traumatize, right? Traumatize us. So these experiences, where do they come from? Where do they come from? Right? Okay, so this is very important for us to explore the real cause. Don't just go for the symptomatic treatment, right? And then some people, what they do is that, why this happens to me? Why not to other people? Just complain like this, right? Why all these ill lucks happen to me? Why all these bad lucks happen to me? Why not to other people? Why only to me? Okay, so this does not really help. Finally, do those things which will actually reduce your pain. At this stage, we cannot expect the pain to go to zero, but at least we can reduce the pain. Why do we have to add the pain, add to the existing pain? So for that matter, we have to identify the cause. If you identify the cause so well, then we see that the moment you identify the causes so well, itself is a great relief for us. Great relief. So what we did, okay, raise your hands, those who were absent the last 3 days teaching. Raise your hands. Okay, there are quite a number of people. Okay, so let's say that first let me say like this. All these sufferings, they arise from contaminated karmas. Let us not forget that. All sufferings which we dislike. All the sufferings which we dislike, right? Okay, I'm sure we all have some form of sufferings, right? You agree with me? Huh? Yes. If the answer is yes, then they say this suffering, where do they come from? We have to explore. We have to locate the cause of the suffering. Identify the cause of suffering. It is said that all phenomena arise from the causes, and the causes are taught by the Tathagata. So, what these causes are, they are taught by the Tathagata. So, what are these causes that we have to learn today? So, what we dislike is all the sufferings. Number one is the suffering, and this suffering, we have to track the causes. Immediate cause of this suffering is what? Contaminated karmas. You're getting it? Contaminated karmas. Don't forget it. And some of you may be wondering, how does the contaminated karma give rise to all my immediate suffering? So this is a good question. Don't forget that question. For time, let us know the skeleton of the structure. Say, miseries, they arise from the contaminated karmas, number one. And the contaminated karmas, they arise from afflictions, the gross afflictions. I'm qualifying the afflictions with gross afflictions. And the afflictions arise from what? Inappropriate attention. And then later on I will give all these 5 points, or relate all the 5 points in the proper connection with the help of example. Inappropriate attention. And this inappropriate attention, it comes from where? From this self-grasping ignorance. Okay, let us at least know this. Let us at least learn these 5 points. Number one is the misery, and the one is the effect, misery, and the remaining 4, they are the causes. The causes in a sequential form. One, the immediate cause of the misery, that is contaminated karmas. And what is the immediate cause of contaminated karmas? Afflictions. And what is the immediate cause of afflictions? Inappropriate attention. What's the immediate cause of inappropriate attention? Self-grasping ignorance. Okay, if you understand this much, you understood the first 2 lines. All phenomena arise from causes, and the causes are taught by the Tathagata. You're getting it? What the causes are, which are taught by the Tathagata, these are the 4 causes taught by the Tathagata. And these 4 are so beautifully encapsulated by Aranigarjuna in his text, Mula Madhyamika Karika, where he said that ceasing of karmas and afflictions leads to nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from conceptual thought of the inappropriate attention, which in turn arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. And this elaboration ceases through the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, so it should be there in this book. Is there anyone? 170? 217. Okay. 217 in the case of the blue book. 217 in the case of the blue book. Okay, Venerable George. 217 in the case of the blue book. So in the red there is the at the okay. In the red book, page 111, stanza 5. Page 111, stanza 5. Okay, so it says, through ceasing karma and afflictions, nirvana is achieved. Karma and afflictions arise from distorted conceptions. These arise from elaborations of grasping into existence. Elaborations cease by or into emptiness. Okay, so the 5 points are very clearly indicated here. Through ceasing karmas and afflictions, nirvana is achieved. What's the opposite of nirvana? Samsara. Samsara means suffering. So suffering is implicitly, what is explicitly taught is nirvana, what is implicitly taught is samsara. What is implicitly taught is samsara. So this samsara arises from the karmas, contaminant karmas, which in turn arise from the afflictions. Then line 2 says karma and afflictions arise from distorted conceptions. Distorted conception here is? Okay. You're not getting it? Man? You're not getting page 111? Okay, within the red, again there are several generations. 310. There are 2 within the same book. There are on 2 occasions you will see this. One in the the Mula Madhyamika Karika text, and the other the compilation section. There are 2 sections there. Do you find it? CJ, what is the number? Page number? 310. You found? Okay, you just flip through 1 or 2 pages.
It depends which edition. I mean, ours is at 111.
Okay, 111, 310. Okay, show this to me. I'll maybe, I know the book, all the generations. You found it?
That's 111. That's
111. Perfect. Yes, yes. 111 stanza 5. Okay, good. So it says, through ceasing karma and afflictions, nirvana is achieved. Karma and afflictions, okay. Through ceasing karma and afflictions, nirvana is achieved. Nirvana is explicitly taught, and what's the opposite of nirvana? Samsara. Samsara is suffering. So that is the effect. So this nirvana, this opposite, the samsara, is caused by the contaminant karmas, which in turn is caused by the afflictions. And the afflictions are caused by number 2. Common afflictions arise from distorted conceptions. This distorted conception is inappropriate attention. Inappropriate attention, number 3. These referring to inappropriate attention, these inappropriate attentions arise from elaborations of grasping into existence, ignorance. And the elaborations of the self-grasping ignorance ceases. That ceases through the wisdom of emptiness. So this is what we have to learn. So this is from Aranigarjuna, and oftentimes His Holiness the Dalai Lama starts his teaching with this stanza. So if you know this, you will know how the samsara operates, and how can possibly bring an end to samsara, how we can possibly bring an end to all the miseries. Okay. with this, you have understood the first two lines of the Ye Dharma mantra. All phenomena arise from causes. Causes are taught by the Tathagata. Okay, then the next one is the cessation of causes as well is taught by the great seer. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Line 3 and line 4. Line 3 and line 4 together, they say teaches us the noble truth number 3, third noble truth. The cessation suffering is causes, and then explicitly the third noble truth is taught, and implicitly the fourth noble truth is taught. Third noble truth is taught explicitly, and implicitly the fourth noble truth is taught. In all, say these 4 lines taught us the teaches the 4 noble truths. Okay, so from this what we learn is that all these miseries that I go through, they arise from the contaminated karmas. You getting it? Okay, so this part, contaminated karmas, this is what we are working on. The 2 classes today and tomorrow. Today, the classes is for this purpose, to know what this karma is, concept of the karma, and its intricacies. Okay. So now, from this, the karmas that we really need to think of is finally, what is your goal? What do you want? Right? Never forget this. What do you want? What do you want? Never forget this. Don't start from, okay, I'll go to TPC so that I'll be happy. I'll go to ABC so that I'll be happy. Then I can benefit other beings. Okay, it's amazing that you want to benefit other beings. But be very realistic. Be very realistic. Start from yourself. You should be happy. You should be benefited. Only if you are benefited, you can benefit others. Only if you are rich, only then you can say the gift the wealth to others. Only if you are happy, you can export happiness. And only if you have gold, you can export gold. Don't forget it. This is so important. Be very realistic, right? From there, I want happiness. Okay. And then the reality is there's so much confusion, there's so much of stress, anxiety, tension, conflicts, and so forth. I don't want these. Okay, if you don't want this, then what should we do? This is the question, right? I don't want this. And then say the taking birth, right? Come to the taking birth in, so wherever your the family, your community, wherever, is quite problematic, right? Problematic, not problematic. In your family, in your community, workplace, and so forth. Sickness, aging, death, complications, right? Okay, so all these complications, they say, once I have a friend, a very senior friend, a very senior professor, friend, and I was sitting, he invited me for a lunch, so me, and then the professor and his wife, 3 of us, we were together. And then we were having some, say, discussions on philosophy and so on. And then slowly it comes down to practical life issues. And then then the reincarnation concept came in. And the rebirth concept comes in, rebirth, coming back, samsara. Then the wife of the professor said that, no, I don't want to come to samsara anymore. I'm fed up. I don't want to come to samsara anymore. I'm fed up with this life. I'm fed up with samsara. It's amazing. Well, right? If you're fed up with this, and then you have the right, you have the freedom to not to come to samsara anymore. That's amazing. But you don't have choice. Whether you like it or not. Right? Whether you like it or not, if you have taken the poison, if the cyanide is already gone, right? Whether you like it or not, you're going to become sick or you're going to die. You're getting it? Likewise, if the causes are there, you cannot avoid the results. If the causes are there, you cannot avoid the results. Now, what is the wisest thing to do? What is the wiser thing to do? to track the causes and see how you can remove the causes. You agree with me? This is so important. This is so important. Now with this, some people, but I don't want to go for extensive, the big, extensive intellectual learnings. I'm more into, say, the meditation, practice, and so forth. Okay, it's fine. There's nothing wrong in it. But keep in mind that we all have the capacity to be like Arjuna. We all have the capacity to be as widely knowledgeable as Buddha Shakyamuni. We all have that capacity. Why should we have to underestimate our potential? We all have this capacity. We all have this potential to become such a learned, as greatly learned as Arjuna, Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and so forth. We all have the capacity to be as compassionate, loving, caring as His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and so forth. Why should we have to underestimate this potential? We all. It's not that only if you're a Buddhist you have this, quality. No, everyone has this quality. Whether you're a believer or non-believer, what religion are you following? Everyone has that potential. So never ever underestimate the potential. So then how do we start? Okay, for that, basically what we need to do is that we need two plans. One is the immediate plan, immediate measure to curb the problems, and the other one is a long-term measure to curb the problems. Immediate and the long-term. You getting it? Okay. Now, long-term. For the long-term, what we have to do is, track the ultimate final cause and see how to get rid of the final cause. What is the final cause? From what we learned today, self-grasping ignorance. Point out of 4 points. The first point is the suffering, the effect, and the remaining, they are the causes, progressively going subtler, becoming subtler. First one is contaminant karmas, then afflictions, then inappropriate attention, then self-grasping ignorance. Okay, this is what we have to identify. At least the next 2 days. When we finish the 2-day teaching, and then if you're able to have these 5 in your mind, and then if you're convinced about these 5, yes, that's very true, all these miseries that I'm going through is because of contaminant karmas. This contaminant karma is because of the afflictions, and afflictions are because of the inappropriate attention, which in turn both self-grasping ignorance. If you gain conviction in these 5, I would be so happy. Right? In fact, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will be so happy that you've identified your problems. You have identified your problems. Now you know how to get rid of your problems. Right? Even if we don't reach to this level of understanding, at least if you have these 5 on your fingertips, and then you dismiss from this 2-day class, even that much I'll be very happy. How many of you can do that? Just to have these 5 points on your fingertips. Minimum, to have these 5 points on your fingertips. How many can do it? I'm very happy. Most of you, which means that even those who do not raise your hands, I'm confident. Why should I have to raise my hand? I know that. Right? Okay, those who raise their hands, those who do not raise their hands, in both cases, I'm very happy that you want to have these 5 points on your fingertips. Okay, but you should have it. You will know this only on the 3rd day. Right? Today's the first day. Tomorrow's second day, Sunday, and Monday you will know. Monday you try to see if these are on the fingertips. If you have them, you're successful. If not, then you have to go back to this book. Okay, this is very important. Now with this, we are talking about the karma. So the problem is long-term measures, short-term measures. For the short-term measure, what we do is that, for example, tackle the immediate cause. Try to rectify the immediate cause. What is the immediate cause of this suffering? Tell me. Contaminated karmas. You getting it? Contaminated karmas. Okay. And the long term is to get rid of the subtlest of the cause. What is subtlest of the cause? Self-grasping ignorance. We have to get rid of self-grasping ignorance. And look, one thing which is very interesting is for the causes of this suffering, say it's like a pyramid put upside down, right? the first contaminant karmas is innumerable in number, so vast base. And then afflictions, it becomes a little narrow. It's not as vast as the contaminant karmas. And then inappropriate attention, pretty simple, right? Say exaggerating and the reification. One is reification or exaggeration, and other one is denigrating. Denigrating and exaggeration. It boils down to two. And then finally it comes down to one. Just seeing things as objective real. See things as so objectified, so solid, so real. One. That is self-grasping ignorance. Right? Yet, from this vast area of the karmas, coming down to self-grasping ignorance, karmas, to deal with the karmas, we don't really need the deep philosophy. Even without a study of philosophy, right, we can, to a great extent, tackle the contaminant karmas. Yet, to go to the deepest, which is self-grasping ignorance, although only one in variety, only one in kind, yet to exterminate that, we need to have an extensive study in the philosophy. Right? Okay, now for that matter, this karma, to tackle that immediate measure, to tackle this contaminant karmas, say, contaminant karma, how many such contaminant karmas are there? Innumerable in number. Innumerable in number. And yet, say the Buddha Shakyamuni and the great teachers, what they did was that they summarized all these things in a very simple way so that we can easily do something to curb the negative karmas in a very effective way. Right? What? All these are more like summarized into what is known as 10 non-virtuous karma. Right? To know what these 10 non-virtuous karmas, 99% of this, we don't really need philosophy. Even without philosophy, you can identify them as something not pleasant, something destructive, something negative. We come to know that. Whereas a self-grasping ignorance, to see that this is destructive, first of all, we have to understand emptiness. The very profound philosophy, which till the Buddha, the Prince Siddhartha, became Buddha, nobody discovered that. Nobody discovered the fact of the emptiness. Forget about identifying the self-grasping ignorance as the cause of suffering. Leave that aside, right? Let it alone. Even to even to identify that as something wrong, that is not done till the Buddha Shakyamuni. So, whereas of the contaminant karmas, almost all the teachers, the genuine teachers around the time of Buddha Shakyamuni, the contemporary teachers whose philosophy differed from Buddha's teaching, right? Even they identified 10 non-virtuous actions. They also, except for Charvakas, except for one school of thought, others they really encourage to stop the 10 non-virtuous actions, because this does not really require philosophy. For example, 3 physical non-virtuous karmas, then 4 verbal, and 3 mental. 3 physical, 4 verbal, 3 mental. Okay, the first thing, while this is good news, that we don't really need philosophy to understand the first part, the first layer. We don't really need philosophy to identify the 10 non-virtuous actions, to identify 10 non-virtuous so well, right? At least like 80% or 90% so well. We don't really need the philosophy, deeper philosophy. For example, what are the 3 physical non-virtuous karmas? Killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. Killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. Everybody says that this is wrong, right? We don't really need philosophy. 1. And then what are the 4 verbal non-virtuous karmas? Lying. Divisive words or slander. Lying, then slander or divisive words. Harsh words. Idle gossip. Right? Say they're lying, everybody will say this is bad. Lying, then what? Divisive words, splitting 2 people. Of course, this is the worst. Right? Then what? Harsh words, Terrible. Right? The moment somebody comes right for for a birthday party, somebody comes with a full very nicely come, and somebody suddenly shouts at somebody, even all this beautiful attire, right? Makes no sense. When somebody shouts, then the whole beauty disappears. Right? There's no point in coming with such a beautiful attire. So the shouting, nobody really appreciates it. So the harsh words is just the very destructive, negative. Everybody identifies that as negative. Then what else? Idle gossip is terrible. Idle gossip is total waste of time. Idle gossip is total waste of time, and it sparks all the other negative thoughts. Right? It sparks all the other negative thoughts and waste of time. Okay. So what are the three mental? Covetousness, malice or ill will. Then wrong view. Covetousness means, okay, I come to TBC. There's a beautiful flower there, beautiful vase there. Tibet House also needs that. That's beautiful. It's nice. Tibet House. How I wish if I have this like this in Tibet House. Do you think that Delhi we can get one like this in Delhi? Then, well, no, Gisela, you can take it. Oh, thank you. Right? Oh, thank you. Right? This is covetousness. Somebody owns it, and I crave for something which is owned by somebody else. That is covetousness. That is the cause of the major problem in the families. That is the cause of the major problem in the families between the wife, the husband and wife, parents, children. This is a major problem. So the covetousness, so attachment to the physical objects and the covetousness are very different. Covetousness is attachment, not only attachment to something which is already possessed by somebody else. This is the cause of the major conflicts, fights, and so forth. This is very dangerous. Unnecessarily, we put ourselves in the problem. Unnecessarily, so much of killing happens, right? All because of this covetousness. What else? Ill will. Everybody will say the ill will is so bad, right? And then the wrong view. Wrong view is discarding the law of karma, right? Discarding law of karma. Okay, so we see that these 10 non-virtuous actions, these are something that people can easily identify as something wrong. We don't really need the philosophy. Okay, now, yet, the thing is that unless and until, okay, how many of you have seen, say, the very clean ocean water? Very clean ocean water, particularly on the coastal area, very clean water. How many have seen that? Raise your hands. Almost all of you have seen that, right? In fact, what I remember, I think last year, 2017. 2017, when I was in Israel. So they took me for a lunch in a restaurant just next to the ocean. It's not the beach. It's it's quite deep, and from the top, from there you could see the water down. Water is very clean. So sometimes the motorboat, they come and then they create the bubbles, and then the clarity disappears. Okay, just imagine. Okay, this is very important. Okay, let's say this very clean water, ocean water, because of the wind blowing, very rough wind blowing, what happens? Waves are created, very ferocious waves are created. You understand it? Okay, can you imagine when the ocean is just brought to such a turbulent, ferocious waves? Can you imagine to see what is at the bed of the ocean? You cannot, because of the waves. They hold the color of the water, which is otherwise colorless. It is disrupted. It becomes whitish. So you cannot see what is beneath. Then the wave subsides. Then what happens? Then the water bubbles still are left inside. Water bubbles. The bubbles are still left there. So these bubbles will again stop you from seeing the purity of the water. And slowly the bubbles also disappear. Then the very tiny sand particles are there, right, suspended. And then slowly they will also subside. Then the purity comes out. You getting it? Okay. Now to really appreciate the purity of this water, what should you do? First, we have to let the ferocious wave subside. Then let the bubbles subside. Then let the tiny sand particles to subside. Only then you can appreciate the beauty of the crystal clear water. You getting it? Okay. Now, the point is to touch this self-grasping ignorance, to see what this self-grasping ignorance is really like. To see this, first, what obscures this, what stops you from this self-grasping ignorance so clearly is the inappropriate attention, the sediment of the inappropriate attention. What makes you not see the inappropriate attention so well? Because of the afflictions, the bubble of the afflictions. What made you not see the bubble of the afflictions? Because of the waves of the contaminant karmas. Right? So first we have to tackle, practically speaking, what we have to do is that we have to tackle the contaminant karmas. Practically speaking, we have to tackle the contaminant karmas to the best we can. It's not that, okay, today you come to TPC and then tomorrow, okay, now this end of, say for example, some people, they come to, say, whatever, to teacher or center, and then you go to attend His Holiness Dharma's teachings, and then you say, okay, I promise not to take any non-veg, right? From tomorrow, and then from tomorrow, totally becoming vegetarian. That's fine, but to get into contaminant karmas, it's not like that. To get into negative karmas, it's not like that. It's not easy. You're getting it? It's not like easy. It has to be done only in process. It's a process. In a progressive way, we can think of purifying the negative karmas. Okay, so the point is, see how much we can do away with this. First, the 10 non-virtuous karmas. Try your best. First, we have to have what these 10 non-virtuous karmas are. I'm not going to go into detail now. What these 10 non-virtuous karmas are. See, try your best for your own good. Don't think that, okay, there are so many people, they are doing like this, they are doing this, so why should I be the one who you should be, stop the 10 non-virtuous karmas? Right? Don't behave like, don't think like this. No matter what they are doing, your side, just try your best to stop the 10 non-virtuous karmas. Not for others, for yourself. Start from you. Make yourself happy. Take yourself away from the suffering. Right? Start from there. That's the first thing. Now, unless we do that, we can study. We can study what is the total purity like. What is the sediment like? What is the bubble like? We can study all these things. But the actual experience-wise, unless we stop the rough waves, we will not see the bubbles inside. Unless the bubbles stop, we cannot see the sediments. Unless we stop the sediments, we cannot see the purity of the water inside. You're getting it? So there are two things. One is the study. Then number two is the actual practice. Actual practice start from the 10 non-virtuous actions. Just try to avoid the 10 non-virtuous actions to the best we can. Right? Study, don't just stay there. Okay, unless I get into 10 non-virtuous actions, I cannot really get down to emptiness. So the emptiness I'll do later. Then 10 non-virtuous actions, when I'm going to get rid of? Right? To really get rid of that, it may take you like few aeons. So emptiness, you'll be away from emptiness for aeons. This is a great loss. So what we do study-wise, you do right now. Study the most complicated ones. Emptiness, bodhicitta, all these things study. Meanwhile, practically speaking, start from home. Start from what you are like. What is how we behave. 10 non-virtuous actions. What degree? It's a matter of degree. Just see how much you can reduce the degree of the 10 non-virtuous actions. This is the immediate measure. Then long-term measure, for the long-term measure, we have to plan properly from the blueprint. Study emptiness, then study bodhicitta, and then see the inappropriate attention, Then see how the afflictions they arise, experientially speaking, right? And then how these afflictions, they give rise to contaminant karmas. All these we have to study. And study, don't compromise with the studies. It's so important. Okay, now having said that, so this karma, we have to not only confine ourselves to 10 non-virtuous actions. This was the thought given by great thinkers alike in the West, in the East, both. Great thinkers, they thought about this. In the West, Charles Darwin thought about this. And the physicists, they thought about this. How this world came into being, how this universe came into being. And Charles Darwin went to explore not only just the universe, not only the world, but how the animals, how the human beings, Homo sapiens, came into being on this earth. So these were all given thought there in the West. Then in Asia, particularly in India, so much of thoughts were given, and then it is said that all this whole diversity of the world came into being. Diversity of the world, external world, and internal world of the sentients, that we the beings, and the external world, the place in which we inhabit. So both arise from karmas. Both arise from karmas. Okay. So say some people they are more compassionate, some people they are more intelligent, some people they are more into administration, some people are more into personal practice, some people are into both administration and practice, some people are into business, right? Some people are into philosophy. Why this? Again, because of the karma. Right? So it says that the karma. Now with the physics, astrophysics, physicists, what they said is that the whole this universe, how this came into being, whole this universe, they don't talk about the sentience. They talk about only the home universe in the form of the world, or in the form of the what? The place where we live. The solar system, Milky Way galaxy, and all these innumerable galaxies, how they come into being. So through what we call as the Doppler's effect. Through the Doppler's effect, they calculate it and they see that the universe at the moment, what we see of the universe at the moment, what we are seeing is that the universe is expanding in acceleration. It's not just at the same pace, accelerated. Accelerated means 100 years ago, the universe was smaller and the speed was less as compared to today. 1,000 years ago, it is even smaller. 1 billion years ago, even smaller. 15 billion years ago, everything in this universe, they all just are at one point. Going back in time. 15 billion years ago, everything that you see in this universe, they all are just a single dot, known as singularity. That is the starting point of the universe. This is what the physicists would say. Then a question arises, this singularity, which has all this enormous energy that the universe contains today. So they're all contained in that singularity. So this energy exploded, known as Big Bang. From this Big Bang, the entire universe came into being. Okay, so then the question arises, what was before this dot? This was the question. Then some physicists, they would say, before this dot, it makes no sense. Because this dot is the origin of time and space. Before this, if there's something before, then it's not the origin. Right? So this is how some scientists would say. Then some would say that no, this Big Bang is not just singular Big Bang. There's a multiple Big Bang. So it exploded at one point. They were together. It exploded, and slowly it will slow down. It will deaccelerate, slow down. And then what happens? It will remain a steady state. With a steady state, because of the gravity, again they will be pulled back, which is known as the Big Crunch. again will turn into a singularity. Again will explode. So there's multiple Big Bang. There's no unanimous the answer to this question. Whether Big Bang is once or multiple. Okay, this is the physics. Now Charles Darwin's evolution theory, he did not speak about the universe. He was speaking about the animals. He was speaking about the human beings, how the human beings came into being. He said that humans came into being like 0.03 million years ago. Homo sapiens came on this earth or evolved through the unicellular organism, through to all these processes of the organisms, and eventually to human being, Homo sapien, 0.3 million years ago. From there it started. Okay, so with this now, interestingly, there are so many explanatory gaps there. Even with evolutionary theory, there are explanatory gaps, right? Explanatory gaps are there. Then the various religious traditions, they came up with various theories. And one theory which can explain everything without contradiction is the law of karma. Without explanatory gap is the law of karma. Then the question arises, what is karma? What is karma? Right? Okay, so with this, we need to know. Okay, with this, we need to know, say, the karma. If the karma is the one which is responsible for creating all this universe, the habitat, and the beings, the sentients who live in this habitat, then how does this karma operate? This is the question. So for that matter, what we need to know is that this karma is actually not really there as something external. It is purely about our own mind. Karma means action, don't forget it. We sometimes tend to have a karma because the karma, this word is something which is not English, number one. Then number two, the karma, because the people abuse this word so much to the extent that we get a very weird understanding of karma as though like it's some kind of supernatural power. Right? This is not the case. Karma simply means action. Karma simply means action. In Tibetan it is le. Action. In English it's action. Right? So the action, there are two kinds of action. Action means, say for example, say my hand is here on my knees, and then my hand reaches out to the mug or reaches out to the flower and then picks up the flower. So this is action. Action has a process. Okay, so with this action, then with this action, it is not only the action that we the human beings do, not only the action that the animals do, even the sunflower, when it's directed like this, if from the east, when the sun rises, then the sunflower turns towards the east. You're getting it? There's also the action. And then say accidentally, if the acorn falls and the acorn hits this glass and the glass falls, right? This is also action. So we see that actions, there are two kinds. One action which involves the mental intention. Action which involves the mental intention. Another action without the involvement of the mental intention. Okay, anyone? What do you understand by intention? See, in English, what does it mean by intention?
Motivation.
Huh? Motivation. Anyone? Huh? Okay, say the purposely. With a purpose, right? Purposely. Anyone else? Volition. Very good. Volition. Anyone else? Okay, so I think that these are the few options: volition, intent, the motivation, then the purpose. Say the purposely meaning the mind purposely doing something, right? Okay, we see that there are the three different understanding coming. Now, okay, what's the difference? If somebody pushes me, I fall, then I remain there, or I can come back. Right? If I want to challenge the person, I'll come back. If I want to rest, I will lie there. Right? I can come back. Whereas this flower vase, I push this, it falls. Will it come back? It will not come back. So, this action which I do, which the sentients do, which the sentient beings do, that action has a thought process involved in it. Say, in other words, this action, you do something, this action driven by a thought process. Action driven by thought. For example, say, my hand is like, the moment my hand goes to the knee, automatically it goes to the flower, a pixel like this. Does it happen automatically? No. You're getting it? My hand is on the knee. It does not mean that it naturally go to the flower. It can go to the mug also. It can go anywhere. You're getting it? So, whereas, say, sunflower is there facing what? The west. And then from the east, the sun rises. Then the sunflower automatically turns towards the east, not towards the north. You're getting it? That is without intention. This is known as pure chemical or pure natural cause effect. So, the cause effect, there are two kinds. Cause effect. Action involves cause and effect. Action involves cause and effect. Cause and effect is of two kinds. Cause and effect with intention, without intention. Cause effect with intention is known as karmic cause effect. Karmic cause effect, law of karma. Law of karma is the cause effect with intention involved. That is known as the law of karma. Whereas, say, the cause and effect is happening without the intention involved. This is a mere natural cause and effect. It's not a karmic cause effect. This is one distinction that we have to make. You getting it? Okay. And now the natural cause effect and the karmic cause effect, they can overlap. It's not that these two are always mutually exclusive. They can overlap. They can overlap at times. For example, let's say, I want the flower. So the intention is now being activated. I want the flower, right? Then what happens? This intention will make my hand to move to get to the flower. Okay, so this action is there. So this action is volitional. This is intentional. That's intentional. Yet, for this action to happen, what happens is that my muscles should be activated. What activates the muscle? Signal should come from the brain. You're getting it? Signal come from the brain through the neurons. So what is happening through the neurons? This is all just natural cause-effect relation. It's not intentional. You're getting it? My intention decides to have, I want to have the flower. So with intention, I move my hand there. So this intention, within this moving the hand, unless my muscles is very active, neurons are perfect, right? I don't suffer from stroke, right? Then I can actually do it. So within that, there are two things happening. The natural cause effects involved, as well as the karmic cause effects involved. Okay, this is what we have to know. Okay, now, oh yes.
Sorry, what if I step on an ant, the body action has taken place, but there's no intention, so is that under natural?
Okay. whether or not this is whether it is a natural cause effect or it's a karmic cause effect. It's a karmic is very dangerous, right? Then it's the act of killing. Okay. This is a good question. Good question.
Repeat the question for us.
Okay. The question asks your name? Wiching. Wiching. We. Bui. Mui. Muiching. So a question from Muiching is that if somebody unintentionally, without awareness, without knowledge, unintentionally steps on an ant is killed or not? Killed or not killed? Okay, let's say, okay, partially, okay, and becomes sick. Not killed, and becomes sick. Okay, step on it and becomes sick, right? And becomes sick. So there you have no intention to step on the ant, right? So this, but action is done. So this action is a karma. No, it's like action. So this action, whether it's a natural cause effect or whether it's a karmic cause effect, this is the question. Okay. So what we do is that all these questions that you have for the time being, I will give this answer, of course, no, but for others, okay, those upstairs, what I would suggest is that should you have questions, you can say note them down and send through to Sonamala or here down, then I'll be happy to give response to you, right? So we have the second session, we have tomorrow's session, okay, and those of us here downstairs, we can do the question answers towards the end. Towards the end, for example, say from 4:30 to 6 we have class, right? The second session is there. Say like 5:30, 5:45 we will leave for question answer session, right? Okay, but this I will respond to it. So there, when you step on it, of course it is karmic cause effect. Karmic cause effect. Then there's no actually the intention involved. Who stepped there? It's automatic? It's not automatic, right? So whether you put your step, same. If you step 2 feet, then it steps on the end. If you put 1.5 feet, it does not step. So that's up to you, right? Because it is not automatic, so that is karmic intention involved. But intention to step on the end was not there. Right? Intention to step on the is not there. So somehow you stepped on it. That is karma. But the karma is known as karma done, not accumulated. Karma done, but not accumulated. Okay, this area we will do later. Done, not done. Right? Accumulated, not accumulated. Accumulated, not done. Right? Not accumulated, done. All these will be, that's not complicated. We will do this later on. Okay. Pen. Okay, particularly with the karma, I'm sure that there are many questions. There are many questions coming up. So I would be very happy upstairs because that we are not seeing the face-to-face. I would suggest you to send them written. And those of us here, the last minute, we will keep like 20 minutes or 15 minutes for quick answers. Okay. Now the same. This karma, in other words, to begin with, very simply, the point is that, say, try your best. Given that the whole universe, if the whole universe is created by this karma, then who you are, whether you have a healthy body, not healthy body, right? Or say we never know what kind of genes that we inherit from our parents, defective genes, right? What kind of the neurosynaptic connections that we have built because of the environment, what kind of environment, so forth. They are all determined by their karmas, right? Then on that basis, then the feelings of pleasant, unpleasant feeling, happy, unhappy, fear, anxiety, all these things arise somehow connected with everything related, which are all related to the karmas. Whose karma? One's own karma. You're getting it? Who did that? You did it. When? Not necessarily today. Not necessarily today. Perhaps 2018. Perhaps when I was very young, perhaps my past life, perhaps my previous life, many hundred lifetimes ago, right? Somehow get done by myself. Okay. So with this, the point is, okay, one thing which is the very interesting is how the karma is explained on the basis of the Chittamatra philosophy. Chittamatra philosophy, right? Okay. If there are some who are not exposed to what is known as Chittamatra philosophy means a philosophy which believes that everything is either your mind or the nature of your own mind. Nothing is really there as external. What we say external is all deceptive. This is their philosophy. And their philosophy is extremely powerful, extremely efficacious. And if you really study it very thoroughly, you might end up believing in this philosophy. This philosophy is a very profound philosophy. Okay, so let's say that how many of you had vivid lucid dreams at least once in your lifetime? Raise hands. Vivid lucid dreams. Raise hands, not half, full. Okay, how many of you do not know what is lucid dream, or how many of you do not know what is vivid dreams? I never had vivid dreams. Raise hands. Okay, Janet. Okay, which means that dreams which are so real, dreams you had which are so real. Okay, how many of you have not been to Dharamsala? Raise hands. Okay, let's say that you have been hearing about Dharamsala, right? And you have never been to Dharamsala. Imagine. And then suddenly you have a dream of being in Dharamsala. Did it ever happen, such things? Never happened? Huh? No, not necessarily Dharamsala, any other place. Such things happened? You've never been there, but you dreamt of being there. Okay, good. That happened to me when I was going through a nightmare after finishing my high school. Yeah, a very vivid dream came to me about this, a place where I'd never been. Even today, I've never been there, but I dreamt of being there. Right? Okay, so the point is that imagine that we are dreaming. Imagine that we have never been to Dharamsala, and you heard about Dharamsala all the time, and then you are dreaming about Dharamsala today. And imagine that we are attending class in Dharamsala with me. You getting it? Okay, now look at the place around. First, look at the people around you. You see them like a dream, or you see them as so real? Yeah. If you don't see them as real, you will not laugh. Right? Now you, believe it or not, look around the wall, the ceiling, look at all the details. Look at all the details. You wouldn't believe that this is a dream. You're getting it? This is exactly what happens to your dreams. Okay, now imagine that Yangzumla is having dream, Gesangla is having dream, Keke is having dream, Chen Chen is having dream. Let's say that each one of us, we are dreaming, same dream. Dream of being in Dharamsala. You're getting it? Okay, now tell me, the dream which Yangzumla is having, this dream, is this the same dream meaning the same dream which Keke is having? Is it different? Dream which Yangzumla is having is her own mental creation, yes? Dream which Kesangla is having is his own mental creation, yes? There's no common dream, yet the content, they are very similar, right? Oh, I dreamed of Dharamsala, everybody says I dreamed of Dharamsala. It's as though like we had just the same one dream. No. If there are 100 people, 100 different dreams. Each of these dreams are created by the individual person, not being shared with anybody else. You agree with me or not? Okay, and this dream is so vivid, so real that in the dream, you cannot believe that you're dreaming. Right now, Right now, in the dream, you met with somebody and did you smile or not?
Yes.
Many times you smiled, which means that you saw the dream so real. If you saw this is a dream, you will not smile. Right? In fact, once I had a dream. So that those days, I was thinking so much about the dream and the real, to distinguish between the dream and the real. I was thinking so much about that. And when you think so much about the dream all the time in the daytime, in the dream you will you'll be little aware that it is dream. You getting it? If you really want to know that, oh, I'm dreaming in the dream, you want to know, then in the daytime you have to talk about the dream all the time. Yeah, this is one of the techniques taught in the text. In the daytime, you have to talk about the dream all the time. And even on the walls, the text says, even on the walls, you attach, this is like a dream, this is like a dream, this is like a dream. You talk about dreams, right? And how can you say this is not a dream, right? Or keep engaged like this, and that too deeply. In the dreams, there's a great likelihood that you'll realize that this is actually a dream. Okay. So one time, I had a dream, right? And why I'm saying that, if in the dream, if you smile at the other person, which means that you are not aware that you are dreaming, right? So in this connection, once I had a dream. I had a dream of a very senior monk, very senior to me, somebody who I really admire. And then in my dream, I was telling him that, Geshe-la, you are a part of my dream. I was telling him. And he said, Dorji, are you sure you're dreaming? Is this your dream? I said, yes. Right? And then he was saying that, are you sure I'll punch you? Yeah, this is what he said in the dream. I said, yes, you're a dream. Yes, you're my dream. Then I said, yes, you punch. Then, on the one hand, partially I knew that it was dream. On the other hand, he's going to punch me, right? Okay. So then what he did was that he literally punched, and I was trying to be very confident. This dream, don't worry, have no fear. Nothing will happen to you, right? It's a dream. I just sit still. And then he punched, and his hand simply, went through my body as though like a cotton. It went like this. It did not really hurt me. Okay, this is one story, right? Another thing was that, again, I dreamt of a ghost. And I was aware that I was dreaming. Don't be afraid. This is your dream. This is your dream. This is just a dream. Don't be afraid. And the ghost was chasing me. I was running, and suddenly I stopped. Why should I be running? It's a dream, right? And the ghost came so near. Then what happened? Okay, this is what we need. This is very tricky. What he did was that this ghost was, with his finger, he was touching my body. The moment he touched my body, while I knew that it was a dream, don't forget it, while I knew that it was a dream, I was just very courageously sitting there, don't worry, this is a dream. Where he touched, where I get the appearance, the dream appearance, that touching there, electrocution, literally the electrocution happens. So much pain, wherever he touched, I have to, knowing that it's a dream, I have to shake my head and then to wake up from the sleep. Okay, this is a different phenomena. What is happening is that your perception can affect the physiology. Your perception of somebody touching, the perception affects the physiology inside the body, and the physiology is affected to the extent that the pain is triggered. That is very possible, right? Okay, we'll stop here for half an hour.